Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our iOS development with UIKit tutorial series by talking about the activity indicator. Now, what is a UI activity indicator? Well, it's often also referred to as a indeterminate progress indicator. It's essentially a small, tiny little view it's an animated view that shows kind of like it looks like a loading spinner, pretty much. And these are typically used for when you're loading data, say from the network, using an API, and you need time to load everything, decode it, and then display it, but you want the user to know that stuff is happening. Right? You don't want them to just try to load whatever it is again, or to go away, or go away from your app or whatever. You need the user to know that something's happening. And so UI activity indicators are commonly used for this, especially when you don't know how long something is going to take. So let's go ahead and look at how we can create our own UI activity indicator. Alright, so what we're going to do is go into Xcode. Alright, and we will create a UI activity indicator object. So var indicator equals UIActivityIndicator. And we have a few initializers. So we'll just do that. All right. Equals UI activity. Okay, UI activity indicator view. All right. Now we should have a few initializers. We have an empty one with a coder. That's for the storyboards. We have one that contains a frame. We have one that you could pass it a style. But we're just going to use the empty one. All right. Like that. All right. So far, so good. We don't have any errors. Let's go down into our view did load. And before we configure our constraints, we want to configure our activity indicator. So now that method is being called. All right, and then in here, inside of this method, we will configure what we need to configure for our indicator. So we'll say indicator dot, and we have a few different properties here. So the first thing that you can see here is a method, and this returns void, but start animating. Now remember, I said UIActivityIndicatorView is a animated view. Well, we have to tell it to start and stop animating with this method. There's a stop animating method as well when you need to stop it from animating. You can tell it to hide the indicator when it's stopped. You can define its color. You can define its style. You can determine whether or not it's animating. Like I said, there's a stop animating function here as well. You can obviously enable constraints. You can determine whether it's hidden. There's not quite as many ways to customize the UIActivityIndicatorView. However, you could create your own if you needed to and stuff like that, and you don't really need to customize it all that much. But what we're going to do is we're going to first call start animating. All right. Then we are going to say indicator dot translates auto resizing mask into constraints. We're going to set that equal to false. And then we're going to add it to the view as a subview. View add subview indicator, like so. And so that's pretty much our indicator configured. If we go down to our constraints, I've left this empty for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to say indicator dot center x anchor dot constraint equal to view dot safe area layout guide center x anchor. So it's going to be centered horizontally, and then we're also going to center it vertically. Now it already has, right? It already has a width and height, so we don't need to worry about those. We can say now indicator dot center y anchor dot constraint equal to view dot safe area layout guide dot center y anchor. All right, there we go. We'll run this code now. Let it load and do its thing. And so there we have it. There is our indicator. It's right there in the center of the screen. It's spinning and kind of just doing its thing. Now, you could add a button to tell it to stop animating. And if you have stop animating being called, I would also recommend that you, in the configuration of our activity indicator, you set the property where it'll hide the indicator when it's stopped, because it will look kind of strange just having an activity indicator there not spinning in the middle of its animation. So that is something I'll leave to you. I'll leave it to you to figure out how you can put in a button that will stop it from animating and have it hide when it stops. All right? So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.